Intramuros is very important to us because of the lessons in heritage and history. Siguro, in one line, ng objective ng Bahay Chinoy, establish our rightful place in the Philippine sun. Bukas ito sa public noong 1999, inilalarawan nito ang bahagi at ang impact ng mga Chinese Filipinos in all aspects of Philippine life. I wish that the Bahay Chinoy can be recognized in the whole Intramuros and the whole Philippine society. I wish all the visitors, the audience, regardless of race, regardless of origin, regardless of your religion, can be recognized as part of this nation and as part of this nation building and the history of the Philippines. Ako po si Teresita Angsi, founding president ng Kaisa para sa Kaunlaran at ngayon ay executive trustee ng Kaisa Heritage Foundation na nagmamanage sa Bahay Chinoy, Museum of the Chinese in Philippine Life.
For me, Intramuros is our past, present, and our future. And because of that, it is very important in our lives. We must be involved and engaged in Intramuros, and we as citizens must do everything to keep it alive, to keep it vibrant, because it is the archive of our history. It is the archive of who we are as a people. Well, I'm Olivia Limpeao. I'm the president and CEO of Distillery Limtuaco and the 5th generation master blender and distiller of the oldest distillery in the Philippines. So our company was established in 1852, and our founder is Don Bonifacio Limtuaco, who came from China, Fujian, China, and he introduced to the Philippines this product called Shok Hok Tong, which eventually became the generic term for Chinese medicinal wine, Shok Tong. And so we are very much part of the history of the Philippines through our liquor making with 167 years of history and legacy that we have shared with this country. Well, Intramuros is very important because this was really the seat of governmental power and trade, culture, religion, and we're very proud to be part of Intramuros now through our museum. While our role in Intramuros is really to provide another tourist spot, another tourist spot where through our museum, tourists can learn more about our country, about our products, about our industry. And we're very proud to be given that opportunity to participate, in promoting culture through food. Well, I would really love that Intramuros would be teeming with tourists, with young people working in this place, celebrating our history and our culture, and sharing it with the rest of the world. Similar to what other countries are doing. For instance, like in Tallinn, Estonia, where they have a medieval walled city. I wish our Intramuros would be not just like that, but maybe even better, so it would be really a living walled city of the past, the present, and the future.
Ang mga binibenta ko po pagkain na ulam, adobo, sinigang, kaldereta, pork chop, fried chicken, may mga gulay, pakbet, tsaka chapsoy. Karamihan na kumakain sa akin, nagtatrabaho sa Mapua, mga empleyado. Tapos, estudyante rin ng Mapua. Lyceum, Manila High. Ayun po, nakakatulong ang tindahan po namin sa Intramuros, lalo na po ang Sanamay. Malaking bagay po sa mga estudyante at mga empleyado sa Intramuros na nagtatrabaho. Kasi pangmasa po ang presyo. 40 years na po ako nakatira sa Intramuros, naranasan na namin yung hirap, baha. Para sa amin, ang Intramuros malaking bagay kasi dito nabuhay yung mga anak ko, dito ako nagpalaki ng mga anak ko, dito ko kinuha yung pampalaki ng mga anak ko, maaral. Kaya ang Intramuros malaking bagay sa amin. Dito na rin nag-aaral ng mga anak ko ng high school, elementary sa Quiapo, Mabini, sa high school sa Manila High School, sa Intramuros. Ako po si Edna Apable. Merong isang karinderya sa Intramuros. Ang ginagawa ko po, namamalengke sa madaling araw, may nagluluto, nagtitinda. Ang pangarap ko po sa Intramuros, sana huwag kami mawala at habang buhay kami makapaghanap buhay sa Intramuros.
So naging special sa akin yung Intramuros dahil dito rin ako nakatira, so dito na rin ako kumukuha para sa hanap buhay namin. And then ang Intramuros din para sa akin is parang isang tahanan na rin para sa akin. So ang role ko dito sa Intramuros ay parang tayo naging nag-a-attract or nagpapa-attract sa mga turista dito sa loob ng Intramuros para kahit pa paano makita rin nila yung kagandahan ng Intramuros. Ako nga pala si Valentino Mejia, isang e-trike driver dito sa Intramuros. So ang nakikita ko sa future ng Intramuros is lalawak pa yung ating turismo dito sa loob ng Intramuros, and then talagang makikilala ang Intramuros sa buong Pilipinas, hindi lang sa buong Pilipinas, sa buong mundo.
Ang Intramuros, isa sa pinakamahalagang lugar dito sa buong Pilipinas. Ito ay isa sa pinaka-historical place. Ay naitutulong ng isang kutsero ay may turo sa mga bawat namamasyal kung anong mahalagang lugar dito sa Intramuros. Mga rule ng mga kutsero ay kailangan panatili, malinis ang lugar, tapos mag-uniforme at sundin ang mga tuntunin ng Intramuros. Dito sa Intramuros, sana isang araw o bawat isang linggo, bigyan nila ng mga libre na mga lugar para lalong pasyalan ng mga mamamasyal dito sa Intramuros. Yung iba kasi namamasyal dito, hindi nakakapasok sa mga lugar-lugar kasi may mga bayan. Ako po pala si Romeo M. Javier bilang isang kotsero at bilang isang tour guide sa Intramuros. Dito rin ako nabubuhay at nabubuhay ang aking pamilya. Kaya malaking tulong ang Intramuros sa buhay ng bawat isang kotsero dito.
dahil po sa isang hanap buhay na marangal na nagpipidikap. Dati po akong waiter ng Tamais Catering. Ngayon, nagpipidikap na po ako dahil marami pong turista dito sa loob ng Intramuros. Nandito po ako sa Intramuros, 1994. Bukod po sa pagpipidikap, tinitrain po kami ng DOT sa pag-guide ng tour and guide sa Intramuros. Sa darating na panahon, marami pa pong mga improvement ang Intramuros dahil sa IA, sa maintenance, sa kalinisan, kaayusan. Good morning po, ako po si Gerald Abillar. Ang trabaho po dito ay nagpipidikab. Ang gusto pang mangyari dito sa loob ng Intramuros ay ma-improve yung kagandahan, maraming matulungan na barangay.
I've been a resident of Intramuros for half of my life, and my children has grown to love this place. We are trying to promote Intramuros through our venue because we feel that this is one way of inviting tourists to come and experience Intramuros. This place is actually the ancestral house of my husband. So this is where he grew up. So he's been here for like his entire lifetime. So it really means a lot, not only to him and his family, but to us also. We would like Intramuros to be a premier tourist destination. My name is Cosette Chua. I am the Managing Director of Pavilion de la Castellana. We are working closely with the administrator to further improve what we have. I believe that this is the only historical place that's left in Manila. In my own little way, I would like to think that I can contribute to its historical value.
Very unique, one of its kind. It's a historical zone, actually. No? You have lots of museum in and out of the walls. No? Jaime, Jimmy Lim. I've started doing business here in 1988. I opened a small retail shop catering to Mapua students just in front of OWA, Overseas Worker Welfare Administration. And my main customer is Mapua. So now we thought of putting up this training center institute right in the heart of Intramuros. No? What better place, because it is a university hub. As you can see, we have 5 universities here and 1 middle school,
We need more of this current administrator to see a better Intramuros. I'm very happy right now with the current administrator. Then what I hope for is a cleaner Intramuros. I hope all the stakeholders inside Intramuros will come together. We cannot all be leaders. Let's just follow the leader who is giving us the right direction.
Sa akin, special yung Intramuros dahil sa punong-puno ng historical yung Intramuros. Napamahal na rin po ako dito sa Intramuros dahil dito po ako nagtatrabaho. Ako po si Christian Roa. Ako ay isang security guard ng Intramuros bilang isang katipunero po. Naitutulong ko po dito sa Intramuros na mapanatili po yung mga kalinisan, kaayusan, at matiwasay na pagpapatupad. Ini-expect ko po dito sa Intramuros dahil po sa lalong tumatagal, gumaganda siya at dumarami yung mga turista na bumibisita dito.
We start here in Fort Santiago, where we trace the prehistoric Philippines in the Kingdom of Ra Sulaiman.
He introduced me Manila, and I fell in love with it. That's why we started Don't Skip Manila, to say, okay, since I fell in love with your stories, why not let's share it to others and let other people to fall in love with Manila.
Don't Skip Manila is a tour group that conducts several tours in Manila, especially here in Intramuros.
We are the one who tells the story of this place and what's the importance of it.
We wanted to somehow see Intramuros evolve into not just the old Manila, rather the Manila what is and the Manila of the present. I'm Andre, and this is Anne, and we're from Don't Skip Manila. Intramuros is a good backdrop of being in a place where the destination speaks itself.
Now. So this is our 17th Intramuros learning sessions. So thank you for coming, everyone. So for this session, we're going to do things a little bit differently. So right now, we're going to have a free-flowing discussion with a panel of artists together with the curator. So this is going to be a webinar on Betsy Westendorp's work, specifically the exhibit being organized currently by the Instituto Cervantes. So basically, uh, we're going to have a short video of the exhibit by Instituto Cervantes, and then afterwards, the curator, Dr. Javier Galvan, will be presenting something about Betsy. Uh, Afterwards, after the presentation, I'm going to call on the artists. So there are currently three right now. So the artists will comment something about Betsy's work. So that will be around 3 to 4 minutes per artist to comment something about Betsy. Then afterwards, there will be a Q&A portion. So we're going to accept questions from our viewers. So that's around 15 minutes. Then the entire activity will be around for 1 hour. So I'm going to proceed now with the house rules for our attendees. So this is for the attendees. So if you'd like to ask questions, you may send it through the Q&A button, which is found in the lower portion of the screen. If you are viewing on Facebook, you may send your questions in the comment section. So we are transmitting via Zoom and via Facebook Live as well. So for those in Zoom, you can transmit your questions in the Q&A button. Later, I will read those. And if you're viewing via Facebook, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section. So please note that we are only going to accept questions for 15 minutes. For those who have successfully registered and viewed on Zoom, you will be eligible to get a certificate, and a feedback form will be emailed to you after the session. The certificate will be sent within a week. If you are unable to attend the webinar, please let us know now so that we can give the slot to another registrant. Ensure that your audio is okay. Wear your reliable set of headphones. Don't be shy to ask questions. And most importantly, get yourself comfortable and enjoy. Now, I'd like to call on the Administrator of Intramuros, Attorney Guillermo Asido, who will introduce for us today our curator, Attorney Guillermo.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for joining us in the Intramuros learning session for today. We are pleased to partner with the Instituto Cervantes de Manila for this afternoon session. Our curator for today who will be introducing the artist is Javier Galvan. Javier is not new to Manila. He's the current director of the Instituto Cervantes of Manila, but he's also an architect by profession. Javier has an MA from the Centro Superior de Arquitectura de Madrid and a Ph.D. holder as well from Escuela Técnica Superior de Arquitectura de Madrid. Javier, during his initial stint in the Instituto de Cervantes de Manila, conferred the Presidential Medal of Merit Award by no less than the President herself, then President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, and the Order of Cross of Isabel the Catholic from King Juan Carlos of Spain. Javier also holds an honorary doctorate from the University of Santo Tomas Legazpi. So it is our privilege to welcome for this afternoon session Sir Javier Galvan.
Thank you. Thank you, Administrator. Now I'd like to call on Dr. Galvan, who will say something first about the video, and afterwards he will play the video. Dr. Galvan.
Okay, buenas tardes. Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat. First of all, thank you very much to Intramuros administration for organizing this session. I would love to have many sessions like that because actually it's about our activities. It's an activity of ours, but all the pressure is on your side. So I'm very thankful and very happy that you are doing this. And also thank you to, of course, to Betsy Westendorp, that I would say she's nuestra musa, no? She's our muse. And I would say also that thanks God, everybody is so happy organizing things, events on Betsy. I've coined the term Betsy mania, no? It's like, when a big star, everybody wants to follow her, to be with her. And so I think that she deserves everything. And of course, thank you very much to all the painters that have participated in the exhibit. And shortly, we are here because of the generosity of Betsy Westendorp, because she donated a painting. We will see it afterwards in the video. She donated a painting just in the moment when we were about to enter in our premises in Intramuros, in Casa. And so when I arrived in Manila, I said to myself, well, we have to celebrate that. We have to make diffusion of that, to make public publicity on that act of generosity. And that's why we organized this exhibit. We thought it was a good idea to invite the friends, the female friends, because it was intended for March. And always in March, we make activities related to women. And so that's why we call some of the great painters that are today with us. And they were very generous also, and she lent us some of their paintings. We will see afterwards. But, the opening was scheduled for 18th March. And you know what happened? 16 March, lockdown began. So we could really open the exhibit. We thought lockdown would be short, and we said, well, okay, let's wait a couple of weeks, 1 month. But, we are still in lockdown. And so we said to ourselves, well, we are going to film the exhibit. And we are going to make a video, and we are going to present it, as we are doing, all of us. Congratulations, by the way, by your lessons, learning lessons. And so here we are to present this exhibit and to talk also a little bit about Betsy's way of painting and somehow also some hints on Betsy's life. So I can start already with the video, Diba?
Yes.
Okay. So I think I can share a screen already. Well, I have to say that we are still waiting for the permit for the music. We want to play the music of Luis Eduardo Aute, that is a great Spanish composer that passed away recently, and he was a friend of Betsy, and he was born in Manila. He was born in Manila. That's why we want also to render an homage to Luis Eduardo Aute, but we haven't gotten the permit yet from the family. So, you know, this is very tricky. And so we wait for that, no? It's a beautiful music that is called La Belleza, the beauty, and I think that it matches very well with the exhibit. But, well, we have to wait a little bit for listening to Aute. I introduce you to our exhibit room, and here we are. Betsy Westendorp encarna a la perfección ese maridaje entre lo español y lo filipino. Española por los cuatro costados, con apellido holandés, y filipina de adopción y filipina por decisión. Westendorp ha pasado gran parte de su vida aquí en Filipinas y todo el mundo la reconoce como una pintora propia del mundo filipino. El Instituto Cervantes de Manila ha querido rendirle un homenaje y también mostrarle su gratitud por la donación de este cuadro que tengo detrás y que Betsy Westendorp donó al Instituto justo en el momento en el que el Instituto venía para ocupar estos locales de Intramuros. En torno al cuadro, el Instituto Cervantes de Manila ha organizado una exposición de cuadros de pintoras filipinas y españolas que tienen relación especial, de un tipo o de otro, con la pintura. Esta exposición, Creadoras, homenaje a Betsy Westendorp, es eso, un homenaje, un acto de gratitud a esta pintora española y filipina.
Pues una tarde en una sala de exposiciones que hay en la calle Júpiter, yo entraba y salía Carlos Madrid y me dice, acabo de ver un cuadro y me dijo unas cosas tan bonitas que no recuerdo lo que me dijo. Y entonces dije, estoy emocionado, me dijo. La mañana siguiente le llamé, oye, el cuadro mide 1,30 m o 1,50 m, no me acuerdo, por 2,20 m. Si os cabe, es vuestro. Y entonces me dijo que sí, que me cabía. El cuadro fue una sorpresa para mí también, porque yo estaba pintando, estaba haciendo una serie de cuadros con esos colores. Y me llamaron de Madrid que mi hija acababa de morir. Entonces continué pintando toda la mañana. Y cuando lo dejé, alguien estaba por aquí, me dice, oye, has pintado un túnel. ¿Qué quieres decir con ese túnel? Digo, no, yo no he pintado ningún túnel. Estoy pintando el cuadro que estaba pintando. No. Bien, mira a ver lo que has hecho. Y vi que había pintado un túnel, donde había salido mi hija por ahí. Y la historia del cuadro.
Well, as you can see, it's a very, very special story. Actually, that provoke emotions in all of us. And it's a wonderful painting. I would say that is a painting that, is dating back maybe to those days when Betsy started to paint the Manila Bay skies. But it's a big evolution and practically is an abstract painting with this story. And she was painting the tunnel of the passage of one light to another. But if you see, we are in the place of God. We see the tunnel in the middle, but we are in the place of light. Probably Betsy was painting the vision of her daughter in that particular moment. Well, that's good. That's a good part of art, no? That you can interpreted in different ways. That's the importance of the art. It is telling you things, is provoking emotions in you. Well, okay, as I said at the beginning, this painting, this generous act of donation was what prompted us to continue and to make this exhibit, and then this video that you have watched. But I went to Betsy's house. She was so kind. She and Carmen so kind to welcome me to talk about this story of the painting. But then everything was very fluid, and Betsy told me a lot of things. So at the end, I had enough stuff as to really to essay a short documentary on her painting, to go beyond the painting passages. And that's what I'm going to try to explain you now a little bit, and I hope sometime will become a sort of documentary that we will attach to the video you have already seen. Well, she started very young. She was a little girl, a teenager maybe, when she started to paint her sister and her brother. Here we have the portrait of Carlos Westendorp, her brother, that with the time will become Minister of Foreign Affairs for the government of Spain, Carlos Westendorp. Maybe her first portrait. Already, we might say, she was showing that she has the talent really to become a great painter. This is the portrait of Vicky Quirino. This lady was the daughter of former President Elpidio Quirino. It was the first lady of the Philippines at the time. And then she was married to the Filipino ambassador to Madrid. So Vicky Quirino was a good friend of Betsy. They were together in Madrid, Betsy and her husband, and Vicky Quirino, of course, with the ambassador. So Vicky, Mrs. Quirino, opened actually the gates to the jet set, to the high society of Madrid, to Betsy. So she introduced Betsy to different persons that got their portraits, and in a particular moment, even she opens for Betsy the gates of their royal family. And so Betsy could enter in contact with Queen Sofia. This is the portrait of young Queen Sofia when she was a princess. At the time, even Juan Carlos was a prince, was not yet the chief of state, the King Juan Carlos. And well, the commission was to paint a portrait of the Infante Don Felipe. Infante Don Felipe was 3 years old at that time, and he will become, with the passage of time, the King of Spain, His Majesty Philip VI. But this is very important from the historical point of view because it's the very first portrait of our king. So Betsy told me nice, very funny stories how she could manage to have the child quiet, not to pose, no, what is very difficult, no. So then it's funny how she managed to screen cartoons. So she prepared in that way. We can see the Infante Don Felipe with his two sisters, las infantas Doña Cristina y Doña Elena. And so, well, it's very funny how, thanks to these movies, to these cartoons, she was able to have them, because also she made the portraits of the girls, of the little girls, and she was able to have them posing a long time. She also mentioned me about, well, how convivial it became. They were here in the gardens of the palace, the Palacio de la Zarzuela, and that created this special relation with the model, what is very important. Actually, to get these portraits, is necessary, as you know well, the artist to have this special connection with the person you are going to paint. Well, the connection with the Philippines is through her husband, Mr. Brias, Antonio Brias, Tony Brias. He was a vice president of San Miguel Corporation. He went to Madrid for some reasons. There in Madrid, they got to know each other, they fell in love, they get married, and then later on, in a particular moment, he came back to the Philippines. Tony came back with his wife, and it was instrumental on that Imelda Marcos, the first lady at that time, because she knew the paintings, the portraits that Betsy had performed, and she wanted to have Betsy in Manila to paint her and her family. And that's how Betsy Westendorp came to Manila. Well, this is very interesting because this is a portrait of Betsy, very, very beautiful, made by Amor Solo, no less the Amor Solo made this beautiful portrait of Betsy in those days when Betsy came to the Philippines. Also, another great master, Fernando Zóbel, was very much related to the Brias and the Westendorp. Is Fernando Zóbel. He was a close friend of Tony Brias, and well, they have a very, very tight relation. They were very, very good friends, and so in a particular moment they exchanged portraits. So Betsy painted this portrait of Fernando that was intended for a gift from Fernando to his mother, and in exchange Fernando gave one of his famous paintings to Betsy that I think that she has in her house in Madrid. Well, at that time, the couple, Tony and Betsy, used to have strolls along Manila Bay every day. And so Betsy fell in love with the sky, with the sunsets in Manila Bay. And that was how I started to make all these paintings with these colors. That is part of her career. It's one genre that she has cultivated with a tremendous success. We see different paintings of these skies in Manila. She used to say that in those days the sky was clean and the colors were so vivid that something, well, maybe now with COVID are some better, but actually, as you know, with the pollution, the colors were not as bright as they were in those days. Okay, another genre that is mastered by Betsy are flowers. She might be also considered as the painter of flowers. You know, the orchids, for instance, she's famous for making paintings about orchids, but I like very much these paintings about this flower we call hortensias in Spanish. And so they are common in the northern part of Spain, in the northern coast, in Basque Country and Santander, etc. No? And so, yeah, she fell in love also with hortensias because they are different colors, they mix the color. So it's a complete universe of colors, and she has also painted in a very remarkable way. There are several, we see here, wonderful paintings of these hortensias. So, well, we see, of course, more flowers here, and we see her with President Macapagal Arroyo. Of course, Betsy has been related to different presidents of the Republic, as we can see. And also another feature of Betsy paintings are the format. She paints big, very big pictures, so it's something that is not easy. And even something remarkable also is that she paints directly upon the painting, not making any previous sketch with carbon or something like that. So I say that she's very brave, no, to embrace that work, and actually she starts to paint by one side, and finally she completes a wonderful and total work of art. Uh, this is a photo taken by a famous Spanish photograph that came to the Philippines, Juan Gienes, and it's Betsy painting former President Ferdinand Marcos. Betsy used to say that former President Marcos had very strong discipline. He was always on time. She was quiet. She was actually following the act of posing in the best way possible for the painters. She says it was not the same with his wife, and Imelda Marcos had Betsy waiting for hours and hours, many days. Well, this is not a very big painting, but she made some paintings, huge paintings there in Malacañang, and she had really problems, no? Because actually to go high and to come down and was really not comfortable at all, no? So President Marcos talked to this gentleman that was a German, Filipino-German engineer, William Shari. He is the one who designed some of the most beautiful fountains in Manila. For instance, this fountain of CCP was designed by Mr. Shari. So President Marcos commissioned this gentleman to make a device to help Betsy to paint these huge paintings. So, and this is the sort of artifact that we can see. With this artifact, is possible. It's like the curtains. It's like the mechanism of the curtains to elevate the curtains and to put it down. So in every moment is a motor that is moving this device. So in every moment, Betsy can paint seated or standing, but it's not necessary to have a ladder or to make or to have scaffolders. Even she needed the scaffolders sometimes to paint some paintings, no? So she says that it was very useful for her. And so we see in this photo, we see this beautiful painting. That is a painting that she was making. Meanwhile, she was waiting for Imelda there in Malacañang. So I suggested to name it Waiting for Imelda, no? Well, okay, other genre that Betsy loved so much is the cafes or the terraces, terrazas as we call it, of the cafes in Madrid. Here we have one painting of one of the cafes in the main boulevard of Madrid, in Paseo de la Castellana. And also is another of her favorite subjects to paint out. Well, I would say that Betsy is a young lady, 92 or 93 years old. She loves life and she continues painting. I was a witness, and so this photo was taken a few days ago. She was choosing the colors, thinking about what she was about to do. And you have seen before in the video a moment when she was painting, and this is a photograph of that moment. Of what is the very last, for the moment, painting of Betsy. This has a particularity that is a joint venture. I think that maybe for the first time, she painted with someone else. And finally, it comes out this painting that is called Joy of Life, because I think that summarizes very well what is Betsy's life, is that love for life, not only the joy for life for herself, but for the people around her. That's something that very few people in the world have that capacity, no? Where she is, you feel that it's an ambience of beauty, of joy of life. Well, thank you. That is my personal tribute as a director of Instituto Cervantes to Betsy Westendorp. And we hope to have new paintings with these bright colors to enrich even more the heritage of Betsy Westendorp.
Thank you so much, Dr. Javier, Dr. Galvan. That was a very interesting take on Betsy. Now we're going to our panel of artists now to give their comments. But before anything else, I'd like to introduce them first. So right now in this episode, we're going to have three artists, three good friends of Betsy. So we have for today, Marivic Rufino, Phyllis Savallero, and Carmen Brias. So I've taken the liberty of getting photos from the internet. So I hope you don't mind. So we have three artists today. So Miss Marivic Rufino is a Filipino visual artist, writer, concert producer, and businesswoman. She is co-author of Comfort Food, which won the 2003 Book of the Year award. In 1990, she won a national award, Gawad CCP, for Best Television Special from the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Mav Rufino serves as a trustee of PLDT Smart Foundation and is also officer director of many other companies engaged in management and development. Phyllis Avellero, on the other hand, is a Filipino modern and contemporary artist. She has a BA in economics and a BA in fine arts from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. In 1978, she was awarded as one of CCP's 13 artists. Zavallero has continued developing her art by completing courses in stained glass technique in Provence, France, lithography, printmaking in the Art Students League, and marathon rowing in the Studio School, both in New York City. And lastly, we have Carmen Brias. She is an artist based in Madrid, and she's the daughter of our star today, Betsy Westendorp. So she has a diploma in painting restoration from the University of Madrid, and the Diccionario de Pintores y Escultores Españoles described Bria's style as a fantastic ingenuism with a surrealistic inclination, an exuberance of color using firm drawing to recreate the reality that surrounds us. So those are our three artists for today. Now I'd like to call on first Miss Marivic Rufino. Miss Marivic, would you like to say something about Betsy for, let's say, 4 minutes?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Betsy, my beloved friend, my idol. If I could only have a tiny fraction of her talent, I would be so blessed. I admire her greatly for her discipline, for her exquisite touch in her brush strokes are so fine, so delicate, and yet she can paint very bold sunsets. And I love her sunsets and her clouds in particular. Her flowers are exquisite. I used to do Chinese painting before, and so I was doing flowers. And so, of course, it's no comparison to what Betsy has done and is doing. And I admire greatly. She's told me many stories over the years of how she would paint the sunset of Manila Bay. And she has captured the sunset like no other artist has. And I think she's incomparable. Very hard to describe her. I speak from the heart because I'm a great admirer and I love Betsy. And what I recall is one time she invited for paella at home, and we were having dinner to celebrate Sanso's birthday, and she was showing me around her works and how she paints early morning, and she's able to work straight through the day and still go to events in the evenings. That kind of energy is unusual for an artist, and she can combine being an artist and being also a person who is part of the social scene, no? And I've seen her early works and her later works. I love her portraits. What can I say? If only I could be like her, I would be, as I said, blessed. And she has a genuine touch with people. She cares about people. She loves people, and it shows. She's very sincere. And she's always been very supportive of other artists. And I've seen that whenever I have a show. she would come to the opening and be early, and just to give her congratulations, her moral support, and to show her love. And she would also buy, and that was very touching. She bought my horse. I had a horse that was painted on silk, and she bought that, and I was very touched because for an artist to do that, that could be the biggest compliment, no, for another artist, from another artist. So, hola Betsy, enhorabuena. I'm very happy for you that we're able to do this tribute to you. I'm very honored to be part of this exhibit to show our love and appreciation for you and your great talent. And I hope that you will live forever. And there's another thing I have to mention about her passages, the painting that was just featured and that she had donated to Instituto Cervantes. I remember that was just a few days before the opening of her exhibition at Provenance, and she continued painting, and she was there at her opening early, and I would say she soldiered on. She showed the strength of character, and she may look very feminine, but she's very strong inside. And I admire that she, even if she was grieving, she showed love of her art, which transcends her grief. And she's able to transform the pain into that painting. And that is why when she was talking about the tunnel, I could relate to it because I've lost loved ones in the past, and I know what it's like, and painting heals. And for her to show up a few days after her daughter's passing, was had a tremendous impact on me because it showed her strength of character, her resolve to be at the show and to show everyone that she was fine, and that art is above all a gift from God, and she was expressing her gift through her work. So that's all I can say. I wish I could say more, but her works speak for themselves. So I love you, Betsy.
Thank you, Ms. Marvick, for that tribute. Miss Phyllis, would you like to say something?
Okay. Can you hear me? Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. I got to know Betsy in the 80s. Or even earlier, maybe in the late 70s, I was still a student at the University of the Philippines, College of Fine Arts, and we were being encouraged and sort of trained by Ray Albano, who was a director at CCP for visual arts. And I got to know about Betsy because she had a very large exhibit at CCP at the time. So I saw her portraits and her large atmospheric paintings with flowers and all. But I didn't know her personally. I wouldn't have dared even go up to her at that time. Okay. Years went by, and every so often I would run across Betsy, but not really get to know her until I would say 1986, when that was after the change of government. It was EDSA revolution, and since I was very much in the activist role all that time, I ended up in Malacanang and was astounded. Well, I was the president of the Museo ng Malacanang Foundation. So we had to open up Malacanang to the public. And that included all of the art collection of Mrs. Marcos. And that's when I saw how much and how well Betsy could do portraiture. Because in Malacanang itself were these very, very large paintings, and in the other guest houses, and in the archives of Malacanang. So I was involved in trying to archive, to document this collection, which was not at all well documented. Okay. But doing all this, I had a chance to talk to Betsy once in a while to get some background on some of these paintings. And I mean, that was how I got to know a lot of other artists, you know, Cesar Legazpi, and there were the very modern ones like Lia Aguinaldo, and who had a lot of works in the bodegas, in the storerooms of the palace, which were not being seen. So that was my first time to see her. Later on, much later on, I found Betsy very generous. I was kind of new in this thing compared to her. And she invited me, this I'll never forget. She invited us to her studio, her condominium. I forget the name of the building. It was on Rojas Boulevard. And it had this beautiful view of Manila Bay. When I saw this, I said, this is where the sunsets come from. She had this system that you showed of lifting and sort of raising the canvases to her eye level. And I have a version of the same thing now in my own studio. Now, moving on through the years, we come to like the years of 2000. She came to all of my exhibits. The most recent one that I did, and where I was very, very connected to Betsy, was in 2016. So that was only, 4 or 5 years ago. The story was that I had gone in 2016 to Madrid to help a friend empty her piso, her apartment, which she had owned in Madrid for many, many years. She's given me permission to give her name, so you know, maybe you remember, Maribel Ongpin. So she had decided, after, of course, her husband had died, and none of her children were going to this very nice apartment anymore. She had decided to finally close it down and sell it. And in doing this, she said, she asked my help because she had a wonderful collection of art in this apartment. One of them, what happened here? Why am I on big time here? One of them was mine, which Maribel had bought, quite a few, in fact. She was her husband, Jimmy, was my earliest collector. So I had no idea in Madrid how we were going to pack these paintings. There was a Zóbel, there was an Aguinaldo, there were Legazpis. It was really, really a good collection. So I remembered Betsy had gone home to Madrid. So I called her up. I had her number, and she was in her house. And I called her, and I explained that here was Maribel in a quandary of how could she possibly wrap and ship home these paintings. Do you know that Betsy came right away the next day to the apartment with her assistants. I don't know if she still has them, but she had these Filipino assistants who were very good at stretching canvases and wrapping them up. So they came and they did all the work. They even bought the materials for me. And then Betsy, had come. And Maribel, in fact, I think for her daughter, was it you, Carmen? Who Maribel gave some furniture to, which she was happy to do. And then, okay, during that same visit, Betsy invited me to her house outside the city. So I happily went. And we had a wonderful day. She gave me merienda. She showed me where she painted. She showed me everything, where she gave lessons, actually. And in doing this, I ended up, when I came home here, doing a painting. Maybe we can show it. I don't know. Rancho, I don't know if we can show that. La Casa de Betsy. No? I could, but I don't know how to do it. It's
Would you like to share?
Well, I could explain it if I could talk at the same time. But for my last show, I did a painting on paper, 22 by 30 inches. And I called it La Casa de Betsy. And it was a still life of her, the food she served me, the window we were in, the room. It was a conglomeration of many parts of Betsy. All right. So to me, when I'm touched by a person and whatever the person owns and touches and offers and shares, that's what I want to paint. Because I paint only from personal experience. I included this painting in my last show and in Altramondo. And I made sure Betsy would go. Of course, she always went to openings. And how happy I was, she bought her painting. She bought La Casa de Betsy, which is why I wish I could show it. I have it here in my computer, but I don't know how to put it on the screen. You showed it during the video. So I was just so touched. She was just so generous. She's always been generous in her advice, in her sharing of her knowledge, of her skills. And even in that case, in sharing, giving help, there it is. Oh, the color is a bit bright. But anyway, it isn't that bright. So there, I said, okay, this is what I remember. And she did some, I think, those empanaditas or cheese something. And yeah, and that was my memory of La Casa de Betsy. So I'm glad she owns it, and she still does. I told Javier when we were talking about this, I said, ask Betsy if she still owns that painting. And she did. You still own the painting. How you don't know how happy it made me that you own it. So that's that, and I'm sure I'm going to do a lot more, and I'll invite you because I am so inspired by your life. I'm inspired by your elegance. I would wish I could look so good, and that you're always so well turned out, so elegant. Plus, of course, with your smile, your beauty. Thank you very much. You're an inspiration.
Thank you, Ms. Phyllis.
Yes.
Now we'd like to hear from the daughter of Betsy Westendorp, Miss Carmen Brias.
Yes.
Yes.
What can I say? Mother is a monster, a painter with an extraordinary force, creative force, and admirable in every aspect of her life. She's never backed up, she's very brave. She's a brave woman and full of talent and, as you say, generous. And the thing I've seen most about her, I've seen her struggle most is with the portraits, because I was younger and I was living with her all the time with the portraits. And it was very amazing how sometimes she used to do portraits like a scanner. She started without drawing, and scanned from up, down, like this, and the whole face would come out without, and I said, how can you do that? I mean, and without calculating the distance or anything. And it just came out like that. Sometimes she took nothing, maybe a day or two, and sometimes there are other portraits that were much more difficult and took many days and sometimes even weeks or months. But she always, got it done. And the other things, the flowers, I also wish I could paint like her. Okay, I paint in a very sort of naive, innocent way, and I'm like a little child there following. And I've never, I like jungles, I like animals. I'm more into the nature, I don't know, into the nature freak, sort of. And I don't know, what else can I say? I love my mother. If you want to ask any question, I can answer it, but okay.
Thank you, Ms. Carmen, for this sharing. Dr. Galvan, and everyone else, dear artists, we're now going to our question and answer portion. So just this will be very quick. Our first question is from the Ambassador of Spain in Manila. So it's from Jorge Moragas. Soy Jorge Moragas, Embajador de España en Filipinas, and great-grandchildren of Betsy Westendorp de Brias. My question is the following. With her long-lasting career as artist, nowadays, what is the best painting that she is most proud of? Thanks and all the best, and congrats to the organizers of this wonderful webinar. Thank you, Ambassador.
Which is the best painting you are proud of? The number one painting you are proud of that you remember? Passage. Well, have you heard it? It's the passage. The one that appears in the Instituto Cervantes.
Ah.
With us today. She said, that's the one.
Thank you. Okay, our next question. How do you think is the fusion between Philippine culture and Spanish culture reflected in the art in the art?
You said how she would describe the fusion between Spanish and Filipino culture?
In her art, yes.
How do you describe the fusion of the Spanish and the Filipino in your art? ¿Cómo describes la unión de España y Filipinas en tu arte?
Well, even if I am in Spain, I always remember the sunsets of Manila Bay.
Can you hear it?
Yes, we can hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, I always remember the sunsets in Manila Bay, which are beautiful. And, of course, for Filipino music, I play the Pizzayon, and I paint my sunset. It's one of the most glorious views is Manila view from the apartment that I had rented in Local Florida. It was something incredible. The sunsets in Manila Bay. I had the privilege to be there every afternoon at 5:30 when the sun is setting and you have the most glorious view of the world. I always did that. And I paid the Javier music. That's all I can tell. I'm a little mixed up at this time of the day.
I'm sorry because there's a noise there. There's something going on in the apartment upstairs. They're fixing the apartment and there's a strong noise.
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you po. Dr. Galvan, is there any plans of having a travel exhibit for Betsy?
Well, now it's very difficult to foresee because of the situation. So, as I explained before, it was this idea not to have this exhibit in our hall in Intramuros. And yeah, we will see now if the condition change. Why not? But it will be another project, I presume. No? But we will be very happy, no, to have something else. And for sure, when we are going to finish this documentary, we will have probably a presentation in Casa Azul. If the quarantine is still there, we will have a social distancing presentation, a sort of avant-premiere. And of course, we will have in YouTube, and we will make as much as possible to get audiences and people that don't know yet Betsy's painting. Actually, I saw a question asking, well, if Betsy Westendorp is open to work with young painters, and I should say that she has done it always. No, she was teaching many painters, even in her house in Aravaca. You can see that in the book that was edited by the La Salle University Press, where you can see those photos with her house full of very young people. But maybe Carmen or Betsy can add something on that question, that if she's open to cooperate, to work with young painters.
You mean, I'm sorry, I didn't understand well the question. If Betsy works with younger painters, you mean?
She's open to do it.
Are you open to working with younger painters? Yes, of course. Yes, she says yes. It's fun, no? You would have fun with them. Yes, she has fun like that. Very much so. Collaborations, no? Que si te gustaría trabajar, if you would like to work with younger painters. Yes, of course. Refreshing. Refreshing. I'm sorry, there's a strong noise there. It's horrible. We have to do it at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Family is at the core of the Filipino virtue. How important is family in Betsy's work?
How important is family in your work?
The most important thing is the family.
But in your work, you show you have a very nice painting about the family. It's called The Incomplete Family.
Yeah,
no?
Yeah. I have a self-portrait of my family in one room in my house in Madrid. And I call it The Incomplete Family because I painted all of us sitting in the den of our house in Madrid. But the armchair where my husband used to sit, and we were around him, listening to music, the music he loved. Then I remember him when I'm playing, for example, Life and Transfiguration by Richard Strauss.
Have you heard anything?
Yes, we've heard.
Okay.
What did you say?
Yes. Que se te oye. In spite of the noise, they can listen to your voice.
Yeah. You know, we have this day and night. It's quite disturbing, but it's okay.
Yeah. We can still hear you po. Voice.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from Virgilio Mercado. Hola, soy Virgilio Mercado. Can we have a word of wisdom for future artists and for the future of the arts in general? Many thanks.
Can you can you give them a word of wisdom for the future of the art and of the artists of the Philippines? Una palabra de sabiduría hacia los artistas.
I think painters, we are blessed. We are blessed because we never feel alone. And we have our work, we have our family. So I think it's a complete happiness. I don't know because I am a little mixed up as you can see at this time. I'm not very bright.
A word of wisdom. Un consejo de sabiduría. Perseverar.
Never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up.
So much. We will never give up. Thank you. And our last question is from Matthew Lopez. So you are often compared with Claudio Bravo. What can you say about this?
You are often compared with Claudio Bravo. What do you say about this?
No. Claudio Bravo is a master of the design. I cannot compare myself. No. I think he was fantastic. And he was very lucky because people here knew the value of his work. He enjoyed it very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Betsy, for those words of wisdom. And thank you for joining us today. That was our last question for today. And if any of our viewers would like to ask more questions, feel free to message the Instituto Cervantes. So the email is flashed in the screen, secmni@cervantes.es. Uh, and if in case you've missed this session or you came in late, you can go to our YouTube channel later. So we're going to upload this episode so you can view and feel free to share as well. And for our viewers, feel free as well to share and follow us in social media. So we are available in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and as well as on YouTube. Now, before we end this session, before we end this webinar, uh, can I ask some final words first from our panel of artists, then from our curator, and lastly from our dearest star, Betsy Westendorp. So can I start first with Miss Marivic? Any last words? You're on mute po.
Okay.
Betsy inspires me, and she inspires all artists. And she has achieved what we all want to achieve. I wish her long life and more art and happiness with family and with our art. And we'll see you soon. Hasta pronto.
Thank you, Miss Marivic. Miss Phyllis, would you like to say some final words before we end this episode? You're on mute po.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I can only say some words of encouragement to all those artists who may wonder how they could possibly become as accomplished as Betsy Brias Westendorp. It's to keep on trying. You have to keep on doing art. You can't just lie back and say, I can't handle life. I will now. You have to confront life with art. In the middle of this pandemic, in the middle of our being in lockdown, I can't leave my studio. No, I'm a senior citizen, so I'm not supposed to roam around. But I've taken this opportunity to concentrate on painting. So I'm doing it. Behind me here is one of them. I just finished it. It's a lockdown window. So it's a window of my studio in lockdown. So that's the way I feel about Betsy's work, that she keeps on over all those decades. Come whatever happens in her life, the constant is her art. And that's what she's given us. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Phyllis.
Okay.
How about you, Miss Carmen? Would you like to say something?
And I say, Viva Betsy, and continue forever. On and on and on. Like the waves, no? One wave goes after the other. Well, Betsy's like that. Okay.
And then I'd like to call on the curator, Dr. Galvan. Would you like to say something?
Yes, well, I agree with Betsy about the favorite painting. For me also is Passages. And we are so happy, it's a privilege really to have such an extraordinary painting with us in Instituto Cervantes. I knew Betsy already in my first period in the Philippines, well, in Manila as head of Instituto Cervantes a long time ago. But actually, destiny made me come back to Manila. And one of the good things of that has been to have the opportunity to be closer to Betsy, thanks to this painting, thanks to this documentary, to share time together. Actually, it has been a privilege. I'm very thankful to the destiny and, of course, to her. And, well, I hope to continue sharing such a very good moments with Betsy as I have already enjoyed during all these days preparing the video. Thank you, Betsy. Muchas gracias. Y hasta siempre, claro.
And
thank you.
Thank you. And finally, can we have some final words from our star, Miss Betsy Westendorp?
Final words from you. Mommy, you have to say something now. Final words from you. Despedida. La despedida. You have to say something.
You will always be in my heart.
That's nice.
That's nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Miss Betsy. Thank you to our dear panel artist, to our panel, and thank you to our curator. And so this is where we end our episode. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to our viewers, and see you in our next episode. So our next episode will be on Saturday. So it will be about coffee heritage. You can view our Facebook on how to join our webinar. So for now, we'd like to say goodbye for now. Thank you, everyone, and good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.